everybody, Sonia here from Blackstone Designs, and today I'm going to show you how to make the herringbone hat. This tutorial is going to be worked using Lion Brand Yarns Woolies in the color Fisherman and a Clover Amour H 5mm hook. I am making a sample size today, so the numbers that I'm working with here don't match exactly to what's in the pattern, but the instructions are still exactly the same. We will be starting with the brim because this is a hat that's worked from the bottom up. So this means we will be starting with the ribbed edging. This is the single crochet in the back loop only ribbing. So if you're familiar with that, you're probably already a step ahead. First, we're going to start with that beginning chain amount that it says in the pattern. For the sample size, I'm just going to do a simple chain 6. So first, we're going to start by turning it over and working single crochets across the back bump of the chain. So remember, we start in the second chain from the hook. So if I chain 6, that means I'm going to have 5 single crochets when I'm done. Okay. And then from here on out, we'll chain 1, we'll turn, and we will work single crochets in that back loop only. Chain 1, turn, single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch across. And you will keep working this until you reach the total amount of rows stated in the pattern. For this hat pattern, it is worked in a multiple of 6 plus 1. So if you need to make adjustments to this hat, or you want to try to work it in a different weight of yarn, what you need to do is make sure that your brim starts out, so the amount of rows in this brim piece is worked in a multiple of 6 plus 1. For this sample size, I'm going to work 13 rows. Okay, and then when you get to the end of the rows, it's going to look just like this. You're going to have this nice ribbing effect. What we're going to do from here is we're going to turn it slightly, because we are going to work single crochets in the end of each row across. I have 13 rows total, so I'm going to have 13 single crochets. So you can do a chain 1 here that makes it easier to turn the angle. And you're going to single crochet in the end of this first row, and then in every row across. Okay, and then from here we're going to start working the herringbone stitch pattern. If you're not familiar with this pattern, I do suggest referring back to that tutorial so that you can get the hang of it. But this hat is worked flat, so we're just going to work the herringbone stitch back and forth across as instructed in that video. So from this row, we're going to chain 1, turn. And we're going to single crochet in that first single crochet, chain 1, skip this next single crochet, and single crochet into the next. Chain 1, skip a single crochet, single crochet in the next. Skip this next single crochet, single crochet in the next. Single crochet, chain one, skip one, single crochet in the last stitch. Then we'll chain one and we will turn. Now this is row 2 of the herringbone stitch pattern. So we're going to single crochet in that first single crochet, chain one, skip the chain one, single crochet in the next single crochet. Chain one, skip the chain one, single crochet in the next single crochet. We'll do that all the way across. And then we will single crochet, chain one, skip the last chain one space, and single crochet into the last single crochet. And that is row 2 of the herringbone stitch. Now we're going to chain one, turn, and this is where the fun begins. We will single crochet in that first single crochet, chain 3, skip that first chain one space and the single crochet. We come over here to this next chain one space, go to the one below it and do our slip stitch, and then chain 3, skip that next single crochet, chain one space and single crochet into the single crochet. And we just do that all the way across. And for this tutorial, I only did 2 repeats, so I will only have 2 herringbones working across. All right, chain one, turn, and now we're on row 4. So we're going to single crochet in that first single crochet, chain one, skip the chain one space, double crochet in this single crochet. Chain one, skip chain space, double crochet in this single crochet. We're going to chain one, skip this chain one space down here, and single crochet in the single crochet that's between the chain 3 spaces. Chain one, skip the chain one space, double crochet in the single crochet, chain one, skip chain one space, double crochet in the single crochet, chain one, skip chain one space, and single crochet in that last single crochet on the edge. And this is where our pattern repeats will start. This is row 5. So we're going to work it just like we did row 3. Single crochet in that first single crochet, chain 3. Now this is a little bit easier to spot when you have to skip your stitches. You want the chain one space that's right there behind that V. I'm going to chain 3 and single crochet in the single crochet between the V's. And then chain 3, get this chain one space down in the point, chain 3, single crochet. And then we will chain one, turn, and we're on to row 6. Single crochet in that first single crochet, chain 1, skip chain one space, and we will double crochet in the double crochet, chain 1, skip chain one space, double crochet in the double crochet. And then chain 1, skip the chain one space, single crochet in that single crochet that's between the 2 herringbones, chain 1 there, double crochet in the double crochet, chain 1, skip chain one space, double crochet in the double crochet, chain 1, skip chain one space, single crochet in this last single crochet. And we're going to work this pattern until you have the amount of rows indicated. Okay, here we have the finished toddler size strip. So here's the ribbing, and then we've worked the herringbone up. What we're going to do from here is we're going to bring the 2 ends together so that we're facing the back side. Then we'll just throw a little stitch through the 2 corners. This is the way I like to do it. It's not critical because you can just do this after, but I just think it helps me mentally think about working in a loop. From here, we're going to then weave our tail in and out of the single crochet and double crochets, not the chain one spaces, just the stitches. So I just came out of that single crochet. I'm going to go into this double crochet. I'm going to come out of this double crochet into this single crochet and just keep weaving in and out. So this is the double crochet from the back side. These are, but then this is the single crochet from the inside or the herringbone side. And just weave all the way around in and out of the stitches. I know this might be a little difficult to see because this yarn is pretty dark. But you can tell here's one double crochet, here's the other double crochet, and then the single crochets are in that space in between. So here it is at the top. If you pull up on those chain 3 spaces, you'll see the single crochet. And if you start to run out of tail, you can already start to cinch it as you go. Okay, and then when you get back around to the other side, we're just gonna go right through that last single crochet. And then we're going to pull that tight, not too tight, you don't want to snap your yarn. Just get that nice and closed. So once we have that cinched, I like to hold it like it's a bouquet so I have good control. And then we're going to remember where that opening hole is, and we want to stitch across the top of that so that we can fasten it closed. So we'll start from one side of the hole and go over to the other side. It's important that we just work around the opening. Don't insert from way down here. You'll get way too many stitches in it, and then you'll get a pointy cone top. So you just want to close these ones right here on the top. And you go one side and go to the other. And get that nice and secured in place. This won't be too critical if you're going to be adding a pom-pom to the top, because the pom-pom will cover any hole and open gaps that may have been left behind. But if you're not adding a pom-pom, you'll definitely want to make sure that you get the hole completely closed. Then we're going to come down over here, down the seam side, or it's the opening, but we're going to seam it closed. You want to make sure you line up these row ends, especially at the brim, so we'll be able to match these stitches when we get down there. So we will start just sewing across the seam. Now I like to do this with a needle because you can break into the yarn and really weave your tail in there as you go. You don't have to find open gaps and work in those. You can actually break right into the pieces of yarn and get that nice and weaved in there. And just sew the whole thing closed. Okay, and then we're going to seam across the brim. Now you can make this neater by going through both loops on this side and only the back loop on this side. It helps keep the ribbing going, but I find that it doesn't make that much of a difference. So if you don't feel like getting technical, that's fine. Then when I get to this very last stitch, I do like to make a few passes through there just to make sure that that is nice and sealed off. And then we're going to take this tail and weave it back through these stitches. Now you don't want to go under a loop, over a loop, under a loop, because that tail will fall right out. You want to take your needle and you want to actually break into the strands of yarn. Weave it right in there. Just nice and messy. This is going to be the best way to seal off that tail so you don't have to worry about your project coming apart. And you'll go up, breaking through all these tails. Then you're going to come back down and you're going to feed the needle in and out of all of this yarn, including its own tail. This will really lock this tail in. Okay. Then we can clip that off. Now we're going to turn the hat right side out. Okay. Right, then we can roll up this brim. From here you can add, you know, the fun little leather tags or buttons if you want. And there you have the herringbone hat. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Happy crocheting!